All right, we are done with week one. I've got Jim West and Dale Ross on Talking Preps Friday nights. Week one, 8 classifications, a lot of games. We got a lot of scores that we want to share with you tonight. I guess we can go ahead and look at the 1A. Dale, any of these scores here in the West surprise you?
Let me just real quickly look at them. What I was seeing coming in wasn't real surprising. No.
All right, in the East, North Edgecombe beating Washington County 26-12. That does surprise me. I thought Washington County would. I thought if anything that score would be flipped, but
Right.
that was a little bit of a surprise. Hopgood Charter beating Weldon, Sally Howard beating Columbia. No surprise there. All right, let's go ahead and look at the 2A round here. I'll let you look at the West.
Yeah, let's see here. Oh, good for Albemarle. Sure. That's a little surprise, just that it's that much.
Which one is that, Del?
The
Cherville?
Cherville, yeah. Not a surprise that they won. But
yeah.
No, I don't know that I really see any surprises here. Unfortunately, I see a lot of lopsided games other than that Albemarle game.
Right. In the East, there were a couple of close games. Camden County beats West Columbus 33-30. And the one that somewhat surprised me, Union beat Northwest Halifax 28-26. I thought Northwest Halifax would win that game. The rest of them, no surprises on that. A lot of lopsided scores in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, unfortunately, especially in these classifications.
Yeah. But it's going to change in the 3A. Let's see what we have in 3A. Look at Thomasville, Dale.
Yeah, go Thomasville, go Bulldogs.
I know you're a Thomasville fan.
I'm a little bit of a Thomasville fan, yes. I'm glad I didn't go to West Lincoln. That actually crossed my mind, but I was like, I'm not going to drive for a bad game.
Tell you what, the Wilkes County teams, I think East Wilkes won, but North Wilkes, West Wilkes, and Wilkes Central, they all lost, and they Wheatmore beating West Wilkes somewhat surprised me on that one. Actually, I think East Wilkes might have had the night off, come think of it. Let's look in the East here. Kinston all over Northmore, 53-7. Wallace Rose Hill, they held on to beat Green Central 37-36. I knew that was going to be a good game.
Yeah, it looks like it was a good game.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and look at 4A. I know everybody can read these scores, but just look and see what we have in 4A.
Okay.
Oh, I see an upset in the West.
Well, I see how about that Bandy's?
Yeah, Bandy's all over South
71. Wow. Yeah, 71. One thing unfortunately, and I'll talk about it later why I picked Lake Norman Charter, but
that West Stanley Lexington
score. Yeah, I was just looking at that one right now. Like, well, come on, Lexington.
Yeah, that one surprised me on that. West Stanley had only won one game during the regular season. They pulled up beat Lexington at Lexington. In the East, I was texting with Ron Cavanis, longtime educator over in Forsyth County, and he was at the Carver game, and Carver was at 16-0 at half, and they held on to beat Moorhead 16-14. The East, there were some pretty close scores, to be honest with you. The first four scores are pretty close, and the Roanoke Rapids and Nash Central was close when seeing a little bit more close scores on that.
Yeah, much better than the previous classifications for sure.
But I know it was almost a full moon, but I don't see any really full moon upsets in the East. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and look at the 5A. Concord Forest View, Dale. What do you think about that one?
I would have picked Forest View. That would have been my pick to win that game. So maybe I'm a little surprised.
Forest View or Forest Hills held on to beat Smoky Mountain 40-28. Beginning of the season, those two teams. You told me those two teams were going to play in the first round. I thought Forest Hills would handle them with ease, but Forest Hills did hit the injury bug and lost some players during the season. Western O&M beat Southern Guilford 41-23. I saw Southern Guilford play earlier on in the season. That's a young team, and I did see some pictures of Western O&M's field. It looked really pretty. Good looking field tonight. In the East, Eastern Alamance beats Fike 35-0. I thought Eastern Alamance was going to win that game, but I did not see a running clock 35-0 score. Havelock all over Richlands 47-0. No surprise there.
Jim, you mentioned on the West Rowan, just a comment. Back when they were, winning state championships, I went to a number of games, and they always took pride in their field then. So I don't know if there's been any step in between then and now to what you saw, the pictures that you saw of the field, but they used to do a very good job of painting the field up, and those pictures you saw was a very nicely painted field for sure.
Growing up, we used to call the Falcons the Dirty Birds for whatever reason. Let's see here. Tell you one that did surprise me in the East. South Granville beating Western Alamance 20-12. That did surprise me. Although I will say that South Granville has a great coach, Coach Hopgood. He's a battle-tested coach, and sometimes having someone like Coach Hopgood on the sidelines makes a big difference.
For sure.
Southeast Alamance all over Richlands 47-0. All right, tell you what, let's look at the 6As. Look at Donnie Kiefer, Central Cabarrus, beating Southeast Guilford.
Yeah, beat them up actually.
And that was at Southeast Guilford. That was in Greensboro or Sedalia, whatever you call it.
Kings Mountain just squeezes by Smith.
Yeah, that one surprised me, to be honest with you. I thought they'd handle Ben Smith a little bit more.
I don't know about Kings Mountain this year.
That St. Stephen's team, I tell you what, that is a dangerous team. They beat Mount Tabor 24-23.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of a rival game there with Statesville and Alexander Central.
Yeah, that goes back to the Western North Carolina Association's days. Alexander Central used to be in the Northwestern Conference, and Statesville used to be in the South Piedmont Conference back in the day.
Certainly not a close one, though, was it?
Lee County beats Westover 21-20. Saw Lee County play earlier on the season. That's a young team. That one at the bottom, White Oak beating Eastern Guilford 32-22. That mildly surprises me. I had Eastern Guilford winning that game. Tell you what, let's mix it up a little bit. Maybe we can look at the private scores. Maybe that's one thing I don't know much on that.
So I'll tell you. No real big surprises, although it's a little disappointing with Charlotte Latin, I'll say. They had a great season rolling. Now they're rolling out of the playoffs, and Christian just finished playing Country Day. So no surprises here.
What's the difference between Division I and Division II? Is it like over 500 or something like that goes to Division I and less goes to Division II? Or
my best understanding, and I saw a breakdown of numbers. Yeah, it's
gotcha.
Size. It's all size.
375, I think it is now. Thank you, Mr. Producer.
Yeah.
That Raven Gap team, golly, that's a big score there. That Christ School, that's over in Arden. And
that's a big score, but that's not to me, that's not a real surprising score, just because there is a big gap, I think, in those two teams. Raven Gap is the only. Well, I think Providence Day is obviously the elite of this whole group, but Christian can play Raven Gap close. Otherwise, Raven Gap's going to have their way if it's not Providence Day or Christian. And Christian, I would favor them to beat Christian.
Now, Heroes Christian Academy, is that down the eastern part of the state? I was thinking maybe like going towards Wilmington or something, or Clinton, or I should know this stuff.
I'm looking to see if our producer typed something in. I was thinking it was over towards Fayetteville, but I don't know.
Maybe that is that area. Maybe Clinton or something like that. Duplin, Sampson County areas. Okay. Southeastern part of the state. Okay. That High Point Christian team, 10-0, they got a bye. So, okay. All right. Well, let's tell you what, maybe we can get some more scores here. We can wrap up the scores. 6A,
we don't have 7A?
Yeah, we probably do have 7A here in just a little bit. There we go, 7A.
All right. I just want to make a comment. Don't ever predict someone will not go somewhere until you know who they're going to play.
Exactly. I mean, whenever you make an affirmative statement saying that there's no way that these two certain teams are going to go get past the first round, and then today you look at it and you see those two certain teams make it to the second round, it's all good, man. It's all good.
It's all good, but you can't know until you know who they're going to play against, because they might get a favorable matchup. Teams do get favorable matchups in these playoffs. All right. Otherwise, it's not a real shock, but it is a shock, actually, maybe, that Hopewell scored as many points as they did on Butler.
Gotcha.
I'm a fan of Brandon Sneed. I'm a good friend of his, and I think he's done a very good job. Otherwise, Jim, there's no real surprises here. Okay. Again, you had two rivals playing each other in the first round. Of course, most of those Union County teams are rivals against each other.
Yeah, exactly. Down in the east part, there's one score that we don't have listed here. Sanderson did beat East Wake 41-6. Again, Sanderson 41, East Wake 6. I was counting down with, I'll say we had 7 scores. I knew we had 8 in the 7A East. Ashley, a number 24 seed, beats Cary, a number 9 seed. And I called that one. I said Ashley would win that game, and they did, 14-13. Southern Durham, Wilmington, I'll talk later on about that game. Huge game, 61-7. But, you were seeing in the East, in the 7A, a couple close games, but a lot of blowouts.
Yeah, and some really big blowouts.
Yeah.
And
Big
people,
ones.
I define a 21-point win a blowout. Maybe it should be 35 because that's what triggers a running clock. But usually, I figure if you got a 21-point spread, you pretty much have had your way, unless something really strange happens. So a lot of
Especially if you have 0 points. If you haven't scored hardly any points and you're
yeah,
behind 21, to me is 21-0 is a lot worse than like 42-21.
I agree.
So
I agree.
okay, let's look at 8A. See if we got anything going on there. Oh, all right. Only 8 teams here because we only have 24 teams in the 8A playoffs.
So I'm surprised. I'll admit it right now. I'm surprised with that first score. Out of these scores here, that's the only score that surprises me, or the only win that surprises me.
Right.
I really felt like Pinecrest would beat Chambers, but one of those games I would like to see what I got wrong and my thoughts on how that game would go. Congratulations, Chambers, for proving me wrong.
And down in the eastern part of the state, Leesville Road beating Broughton 49-12. Leesville Road, very good team. Panther Creek beating Enloe 27-14. I'm mildly surprised by that. I thought Enloe would win that one. Rollsville beating Green Hope 49-0. We knew Rollsville was loaded. Willow Spring beating Laney. What's the word for it? I thought Laney would win that game, but Willow Spring is a dangerous team. They have a lot of talent on that team. I saw them play Green Hope earlier on this season, and Willow Spring's a team that has a good passing game. They do have pretty good defense, very steady. It's a team that I could see the next couple of years getting better, and that's a fairly new school, by the way, Willow Spring. So that's a good
and
win
by
for
the way,
them.
the Providence Ardrey game. This is not why I don't like to see teams playing the last game of the season in the first round, but
Right.
the motivation. I say this is not why that what I'm I guess about to say. The problem for Providence in a game like this is they did win and kind of played from reports dominating last week. And of course, Ardrey lost. Now, the fact that they're rivals with each other, those two factors don't play well. And now we'll get past this. They played each other. Well, we won't because it does play into this, but not why I do not like to see them play each other. The fact that last week they played and one had a very, very good performance and the other lost. There's motivation and lack of motivation that can factor in. So now you've got a team that you just beat me. You're my rival. This isn't going to happen again. And then you may have that, trap. You could almost call it a trap game because Providence just went through having their way, and now they're playing them again, and the players potentially get that mentality in them that they're going to win. They're going to win this game, and they don't have to put out. Now, Jim, if those two factors were factors, I don't know, but I would assume they would be.
Right.
And 14-7, that's a close
Yeah.
game, and Ardrey was 5 yards away from winning the game, or at least tying the game.
Right.
So interesting. So I said nothing surprised me in the West, and with the exception of the Chambers, and that is a surprise. I don't know about you, but I picked Pinecrest to win that game.
That was when I asked you about last on Wednesday, and that was a game I thought was going to be close. To be honest with you, I just didn't know if Pinecrest was if they were going to have a letdown or not. And Pinecrest was actually leading that game. I mean, they had a pretty decent lead, and
They were.
Chambers came back on that. So,
You've got to. I will address that, but you've got to finish games, Jim.
Yeah.
So, I watched so many times games not get finished this year, and it looks like Pinecrest may have had that issue. I don't know, but congratulations, Chambers, for doing what I didn't pick you to do, which is to beat Pinecrest. So,
exactly
4
right.
performance for attendance. Jim, I don't know if you saw the picture that I had of my game. That's halftime.
Gosh.
No, let's see here. That was not the picture at halftime. That's the picture before the game.
Okay.
I posted the picture in our chat. I didn't send it to Langston, unfortunately.
And what game did you go to?
So this is at Olympic.
Okay.
And I mainly took that particular picture because usually what I do, Jim, is I take a picture of where I'm at and I tweet it. This is where I'm at. And I'm a huge Dave Johnson fan. He was calculus teacher. My sons had him. He was the athletic director at Olympic for a long time. Hey, there's the picture. That's halftime.
Oh gosh.
That is halftime of a playoff game. So I told my good buddy who also had sons play at Olympic. I said, this is just when
it's sad.
We carried more people than that to Alexander County to play, and we carried more fans than that to AC Reynolds 2 times to get our butts beat. We carried at least that many fans to get our tails spanked up in Asheville. And here they are at home, first round, and they don't get attendance. Now, I don't know what other games were like in Charlotte, but this is pathetic. Now, there's something odd about Olympic because there is another situation I have never seen in a first round game ever, or in a second round game. I've never seen in a game that was not at the colleges, the state championship games, and that was that Olympic had. So I see here first. I'll address the fans. 1K fans for South Mac Palisades per the reporter there. So that number of fans that you saw, Jim, for Olympic, that was about the same number of fans that Ragsdale brought. I didn't take a picture of the Ragsdale side, but Ragsdale had maybe that many people, maybe a few less, but not many. And of course, they had to drive down.
Yeah, I mean, Jamestown's a pretty nice little haul too.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's a good 110 miles or so. I think Jamestown's like exit 118 off of I-85. So,
and these people live here near the school. So come on, people. I know that we've got some Olympic people watching, players and coaches right now. By the feedback I got on the sidelines tonight.
The players,
kids.
I was going to say the players and the coaches deserve better. They need to have more fans come up there and watch it. Eastern part of the state, so help me, the attendance has been really good this year. Just tonight, I went to watch Southern Durham play Lumberton, and Lumberton brought probably twice as many fans as you see right there. And that's Lumberton is a good 2.5 hours, almost right at 2.5 hours away from Southern Durham. And they brought their fans, they brought their cheerleaders, and they were out there. I mean, they supported their team. That's something to say. Lumberton has a lot of pride, and they lost tonight 61-15. But again, that was a lot of pride that they showed up to go to Durham.
Charlotte's it's obviously a different environment than other parts of the state because you got so many things you can do. And people going to a high school football game that's not got some connection to a school, they're more easily drawn away in Charlotte. There's just so much that you can go out and do. You got pro football team, you got a pro basketball team, you got, of course, theaters and all the other kind of stuff. I would expect that Ardrey Kell in Providence, though, had a decent and pro soccer. There was a big game tonight that was played, which of course was lost 3-1. But so there is a lot to draw people. But I do expect that Ardrey Kell and Providence game probably had I don't know, but I'm gonna guess that it was potentially. I bet there was potentially 4,000 to 5,000 people there. There could have been. I would think that Providence filled out or came close, and Ardrey Kell probably came close to filling their side. So I would think that game, good numbers. Maybe if there was a reporter at that game, we could find out.
Right. So tonight, 35-0, though, Olympic. Any takeaways from that game, Dale?
It's my first sack. So I had to get the cheerleaders.
From the one.
So, Jim, when I got onto the field, the two teams were working out, and I usually watch the teams do their workouts, especially when I see a team I've never seen, to see at least what kind of athleticism they got and the size of the bodies. And when I looked at the bodies, I thought the very first thing I thought was, are all the players here? Because they're small. And Olympics a big team. Olympics got some big boys. Let me tell you, that kid right there is a good ball player. At number 10 is phenomenal ball player. So Jim, I thought, and I was asked, and I told Spencer, I said, well, I think unfortunately, it'll be a blowout game. And it started out not looking like it would be. That interception. There were only 2 times that Ragsdale threatened, Jim. I didn't send Langston. They got down in the first half. At the very end of the first half, they were down inside the red zone. They threw a ball into the corner of the end zone. Receiver went up to catch it. He came down out of bounds. That was the closest they came to scoring. The next closest was that interception you saw, which was late in the game. Olympic had problems early on with penalties. There were a lot of penalties in this game. Yeah, that was a big hit. I'm gonna tell you that was one of the harder hits I've seen this season. I heard it that far away. Very, very hard hit. But anyway, Jim, I was not surprised, though, as the game started out. It just didn't play smoothly for Olympic. There were a lot of penalties. Ragsdale had penalties. Some big takeaways I had, though. Olympic's got a kicker that kicks into the end zone. Congrats to you, number 64. I got to get your name. I'm sorry, but I did talk with him on the sideline. He's got a big leg. That kid's got a very big leg. They're not afraid, apparently, to let him attempt a 50-plus yard field goal either. He was kicking in some 50-plus yard field goals, in warm-ups. So, but no, Jim, no surprise from what I initially saw. It took a little time for Olympic to stop having issues. I did see one thing, and I'll get off the game. As the game got out of hand, and we did get into a running clock situation, which was good. Spencer left early. He's like, I'm gone. I got dinner. I'm like, well, I'm going to get some more highlights. And I was just thankful that I hate it for Ragsdale, and I hate running clock scores. But this night, I was kind of glad for the running clock, Jim, because I wanted to get out of there.
Yeah, same here.
It was you saw an ugly game. I saw a somewhat ugly game, but one thing, there was a play that occurred on the other side of the field, and Olympic was on defense and tackled and took the kid out of bounds. And then I saw a helmet fly. It was an Olympic kid's helmet fly, and my understanding was it was jerked off of him. And that kid had some reaction to that, and he ended up getting ejected. Now, from what I could gather from the coaches and what they saw, and as to what the kid was doing, he was doing a lot of this. And so if what I was hearing from the coaches, they may be appealing that, because that kid will not be able to play next week.
Right.
From being ejected. So anyway, that was it. It was a good win for Olympic. And really not much more to say other than any Olympic community people that see this, that didn't go to the game, you suck. You've been at the game. You really do. You look at the fans, you suck. You did not support your kids.
Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, even the students need to be up there. I mean, go ahead and cheer on your team. That's so important.
Agreed.
That's just the biggest thing I have to say. Southwest Dale says Olympic fans need to support their team. Southwest Dale. Southwest Airlines Dale.
And Olympic Dad, ODad, as they used to call me. Exactly. You should be supporting your team.
Yeah.
I don't know if kids, I don't know what the crowd turnout was like. There was another game in the southwest of Charlotte, because South Meck not having a home field, they play their games at Waddell. So not too far from Olympic is Waddell High School. And over there they were playing. And my expectation is that that crowd probably wasn't very good either. I don't know, but anybody knows, let us, comment and let us know. I'm curious what the other Charlotte teams' crowds looked like. I'm suspecting not good.
Tell me about it. We need to, I mean, guys, come on, just go up there and watch your team. I mean, how many kids are at Olympic these days? It's 1,600 kids, 1,500 kids.
Somewhere in that range. Olympic went from being they were one of the top 5, I think, third largest or second largest school.
Yeah.
Nobody exceeds Myers Park, and I think ever in number of students. But when Palisades opened up, they took a big hit to population, but this population here is growing. So just like when Waddell was open and the school was split and the numbers went way down, they then came back up. I expect they'll come back up, but I think it's probably somewhere in that range. What about the West Lincoln game?
Yeah, they were all over.
Lincoln won big.
Yeah, huge. They won was it North Wilkes they beat? I think it was North Wilkes.
Here's the score.
It's in the 3A.
Yeah, 3A.
Here we go. West Lincoln beat North Wilkes 42-13. I want to talk a little bit about the game I attended tonight. And Dale, you're going to have a field day next week when you get to interview one of the offensive linemen for Southern Durham. He is right down your alley, and I tell you what, he had some some syrup tonight because I saw one of the best pancakes I've seen in a long time. It was a beauty. But about the game itself, it was 7-7. Southern Durham and Lumberton were tied. Southern Durham throws a bomb. I think it was like third down and long, like third down 22 or so. Complete pass, and the receiver catches the ball, and he's basically hammered into the ground. The receiver, number 3, had a neck injury. Luckily, he could move his feet, but the game was pretty much paused for 45 minutes. They had to get an ambulance to the fields, and they carted him off. And once he was carted off, the teams had to get warmed up again. So I'm hoping everything's the best. We'll find out hopefully on Wednesday night. I'll be able to give an update on number 3. He was a senior. He is a senior. So beautiful catch. It was a beautiful catch. He had a lot of talent. And the other thing that happened after he left, he was also the guy that holds he's the field goal holder, the ball holder. And
that's important. Yeah.
And after that, there was a couple bad holds. And I mean, it's not, no offense, anybody, the second string holder, you just don't get many reps on that. There's no shame in that. But when you lose your primary holder, it does hurt the team. So tonight, though, that game was a pause, and then next thing you know, Southern Durham just keeps on scoring. It was 47-7 at halftime. Offensive line dominant. And golly, you talk about skyscraper after skyscraper on that offensive line, Southern Durham's. And the guy we're going to have on, he's built like a Greek god. So, yes, I was jealous because I'm not. But that Southern Durham's defense, though, is just nasty. It kind of reminds me of a Crest defense from, I will say, about 10, 12 years ago that was just all over the field. Southern Durham reminds me of that. They are fast. They're big. Their defensive backs I know they had at least one interception, if not 2 tonight. But a dominant game. Final score was 61-15. And I think Southern Durham is going to be playing Conley, if I remember right. They're in the 7A. I think they're going to be playing Conley in Greenville next week. So anyway, you want to
about St. Stephen's game? We were asked.
Oh yeah, St. Stephen's won. They beat Mount Tabor, and guess what? That's going to be. It's going to be a rematch of the second round. Is going to be a rematch of Watauga and St. Stephen's again. And you know what? Watauga had their hands full last week against St. Stephen's. I think the final score was 31-18. Let's see what happens next week. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold, exactly. It's cold up there in Boone, let me tell you. It is cold up there.
Talk about weather today, though. I don't know about your game. The weather wasn't an issue at all. It wasn't hot, it wasn't warm, but it was seasonable. It was I think kickoff was 61 degrees. When I left, it was 57 degrees.
I think for players, it was probably near ideal to play.
Right.
For me, it started getting a little cool, though. You know, the hands started getting a little cold, and also personally, it was a little cool. It wasn't cold, but it was cool. The players, I think it was ideal for them, to be honest with you. 60 degrees most of the game, I think, is about what the temperature was. It's approximately near 60 when I got there, and it was 60 or 59 when I left, something like that. So
I just checked the weather. Right now it's 58 degrees. It's actually gone up a degree since the game was over. So
yeah. So
anyway,
good weather. Thankfully, no rain. No. Of course, I was on an AstroTurf field, so no leftover issues or anything there. One of the reasons I went to Olympic was to try to be on a level field, and
Right.
just because of my back. Waddell's field is really in bad shape, and that was probably the reason I didn't go. I mean, that was one of the big reasons I mentioned at halftime this evening was, I didn't go to Waddell because of the field.
Right. So I tell you what, maybe we can look at some matchups for the second rounds because I know a lot of people would like to talk about the second rounds. Durham wins first round game by blowout after on-field incidents. Yeah, it was a bad accident, that's for sure. As a father, you always hate seeing kids get injured, and especially as it involves in the neck. Talon, St. Stephen's won. I forgot what the score was, but they did beat Mount Tabor tonight. So it's going to be a rematch.
Yeah, so unfortunately, there were just not a lot of good matchups for tonight. And, I think if we look at games, we should maybe start at 1A.
Yeah, let's start with 1A here. Yeah, West Stanley upsetting Lexington. That surprised me. I did not see that. West Stanley went in there 1-9 and beats Lexington. All right, next week, this is a Smoky Mountain Conference rematch here. Robbinsville will host Andrews. East Columbus, Kelly, they're going to have to drive a long way to go up to where's North Stokes? Is that Danbury? That's
a long,
I think it's Danbury. That's a long drive right there.
That's a long drive. I'm just not a fan of
that. Rosman at South Davison. That's not going to be a short drive either.
That's maybe where you decide to go up during the day and make a field trip out of it, kind of deal. So an educational trip.
Exactly. Yeah, the West. The team in the West you have to look at is Robbinsville. I think South Davidson is your second best team. I don't see any games there. The Thomas Jefferson, Winston-Salem Prep is probably going to be the game that I would go to for competitiveness.
If you were looking for a competitive game,
yeah, competitive. If I wanted to look for a good team, I'd go watch Robbinsville. And if I want to see a really special team, I'd probably go see South Davison play. I mean, South Davison 9-1. They've never won 9 games before in their history. They never won as many as 7 games before this season. So,
and I hate this. I'm trying to be cautious about saying they can't win the West, but. I don't think they're a favorite to win the West, but I'm not going. I don't know that I want to get out on that limb that we talked about. We'll think about that.
Dell on a limb.
I'll get that limb tree out. That limb photo back out.
Yeah, he's doing this right here, holding on to a limb. The East, though, North Edgecombe at Beargrass Charter. I mean, Beargrass Charter, until about 6-7 years ago, they didn't even play football. They've been around for a long time. It used to be Beargrass High School. And here they are 8-0. That's Southeast Collegiate Prep. That's known also as Southeast Halifax and Wilson Prep. I think Wilson Prep's going to win that game, but I do want to know what Southeast Halifax has for them. That game, it could be interesting. So I'll tell you what, let's maybe go to 2A and Albemarle and Murphy, the battle of the dogs. 2 sets of bulldogs right there. Dale, in the past, we've seen some regional championships between those 2 teams.
Yeah, exactly. And you talk about trips. Albemarle's got a little bit of a drive to get to Murphy.
Yeah. That's probably a 5.5 hour drive.
It's It's a haul.
I mean, you have to go. I mean, I don't even know how you get there. I mean,
You don't go
through
straight.
Charlotte?
You don't go straight there. That's a fact.
Would you go through Shelby or go down I-85 and hit? Go
So
to
coming
Wake-
from coming from Albemarle, I would think you would probably go through, Shelby, Charlotte, Shelby out.
I grew up in Albemarle, and I never went to Murphy when I lived in Albemarle. The only time I went to Murphy was back in 1999. I went on a trip to Eastern Tennessee, and I stayed over in Murphy for a night. But we don't
Right.
go to that. I mean, it's a pretty long drive from Albemarle to Murphy.
No question, long drive.
That Christ the King South Stanley game, that's going to be could be a slobber knocker. Community School of Davison and Swain, that's another really good one. Mitchell of Bishop McGinnis. Mitchell that's a tough team right there. Can Bishop McGinnis beat Mitchell? Allegheny, that's a beautiful team right there. And Golly Corvian's that's a powerhouse.
The Corvians, my favorite to come out of the West.
Yeah. Look at the East.
Community School. Now, I'm just going to say Community School of Davidson. Keep an eye out for how they do.
Yeah, Community School of Davidson and Swain. I think that's an 8-9 matchup. That's going to be a good one.
That'll be a good game.
In the Tarboro Invitational, or better known as the 2A East, Perquimans at Holmes, and I just want to tell everybody it is Perquimans, it's not Perquimans. Please don't call it Perquimans. It's not some type of Worcestershire sauce.
Worcester.
Yeah, Worcestershire.
I'm just saying it like they would say it up in
Boston.
area.
Boston.
They don't say Worcester. They say Worcester. Obviously this is a. I picked Tarboro to come out of the East.
Yeah, I do too. And that's one of those things. There's no knock on the other team. It's just Tarboro. They could compete with the 3As. They compete with the 4As. They could compete with the 5As. And probably over half the teams in the 6As Tarboro could compete with. They're just that good.
They are.
I mean,
but hey, West Columbus, prove us wrong, baby.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Yeah. I think that Perquimans Holmes is going to be a really good matchup, by the way. Maybe we'll look at the 3As to see what we have here. Oh, yeah, I was going to say Union Academy. They beat Owen tonight, 24-14. I wouldn't say that's a surprise, but it was maybe a little bit of one. I thought Owen would win that game. Eastern Randolph is going to be hard to beat. North Stanley East Surrey, that's going to be a really good game. Don't let that 5-6 record for East Surrey surprise you, or don't discount them because of that. That's going to be a good game. That game could really go either way. The Hendersonville Lincolnton, those are two powerhouse teams.
That could be that's a big game right there, I think.
Shelby at East Rutherford, that's going to be a big game. East Rutherford's a doozy of a team. That team beat High Brighton earlier on this season. West Davis.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you skipped over to Bulldogs there, man.
Man, I can't. No,
that's going to be a tough game for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Mount Airy's just going to be. Yeah. It's going to be hard to beat Mount Airy.
That'll be tough for the Bulldogs.
West Davidson at Providence Grove. That could be a good one there. Providence Grove. I mean, they've beaten some teams this year. They've been sneaky. That's a sneaky 8-2 team right there. West Lincoln, they play Mountain Heritage. I think Mountain Heritage is going to be very tough for them to beat.
That'll be that'll be tough for West Lincoln.
And let's give a shout out to Waitmore. Here's a team that's 2-8 during the season, and they beat a decent West Wilkes team today. They beat them 21-14. They played Walkertown, and I say we have it as Walkerstown. It's Walkertown. Walkertown is a very, very, very good team. I'm going to say they're probably in the top 4 or 5 in all of 3A. I'll put them up. The same thing with Shelby and I like East Rutherford's, Walkertown's, same way with Lincolnton, Hendersonville. Very good, very team. That West is just loaded. 3A West.
We do have a comment. It up about Wheatmore game. They had
the Tweedleweets. They used to have somebody. They used to call them the Tweedleweets, and they do the Wheatmore scores there.
We're getting some. You people feel like commenting? Please do. I see we've had a number of comments, but
tell you what, in the East, that Kinston Midway game is going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good one. And that Wallace Rose Hill, James Kennan, I don't care what those two teams' records are. When those two teams play, it's going to be a good game. Both teams are going to be up for that one. James Kennan won last week against Wallace Rose Hill, beat them, I think it was 28-21 or 21-14. It was a one-touchdown game. I think it was 28-21. And I think James Kennan is going to win again, but I'm not going to bet the farm on it.
Right. I'm with you on that. I'll jump on that wagon.
So how about 4A? See what we got in the 4A next week. Dale, the one game I was going to mention to you, that West Iredell Pisgah, that might be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I couldn't get back in time.
Bandy Stewart Kramer is going to be a good game.
Yeah, and that's at Stuart Kramer. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe Stuart Kramer's not too far away. Any other Tuscola at Mount Pleasant?
That Mount Pleasant Tuscola game should be pretty good. I'm going to pick Mount Pleasant to win that one, but it could be a pretty good one. High Brighton should beat RS. It's going to be hard for RS Central to beat High Brighton. Let's just put it that way. And it's going to be, to me, it's going to be hard for North Surrey to beat Maiden. Maiden, I know, is 6-4, but they've lost to some really tough teams.
West Oak's going to have a hard time beating Brevard.
And Burns, that West Stanley at Burns game. Burns.
I'll take Burns there.
In the East, Carver was a team a couple of weeks ago. I thought, they could make some noise in the 4A. Then they lose to Bartlett Yancey. Tonight they held on to beat a Moorhead team. Central Davidson is just loaded. Dale, I've seen this team play. It's a really fun team to watch. They have they use two tight ends, a quarterback. The two tight ends are basically wings. They use a quarterback.
Are they
and a
tight
fullback.
ends or are they wings?
They're labeled as tight ends, but to me they're wings, and
So
they do
they're
run
not
the ball.
line. They're not on they're not on the line of scrimmage.
No, they got two receivers. They're on the line of scrimmage, and so they're actually in the wing back position or
Okay,
H back. Yes.
Yeah.
And, but
it's just hard to see Carver in the East. I have a hard time with that.
It's hard for Central Davidson for me. I mean, that's several.
Yeah, exactly. Two Western teams, excuse me, playing in the East against each other. Just at least they don't have to go to the East to play.
Clinton and T.W. Andrews. You know what, Clinton? I'm not trying to be funny, but Clinton, I think, can beat T.W. Andrews.
That's a dangerous matchup for Andrews. Yeah.
Eastern Wayne at Southwestern Randolph. That's going to be a pretty even fight. I'm going to give. I mean, Eastern Wayne's the team at first glance I'd pick.
Yeah, I see two games there that it's kind of like I'm hosting the game, and this is what I have to host for these last two games here.
North Johnston at East Duplin, and it's not Duplin, it's Duplin. To some of you people that can't speak Eastern North Carolina. And, it's funny whenever you hear someone say Birdie or Manamusket.
Yeah. There's Jim, you're going to get my mind messed up because
I know.
I know how to say these things.
North Pitt and Randleman, that's going to be a pretty good game. North Pitt's a good team. That's over in Bethel, North Carolina. Randleman's an up-and-coming team. West Craven, I like them a lot. I like Reidsville a lot.
I'd say I like Reidsville a whole lot here in this game. I like Reidsville. You know, I kind of like Reidsville coming out of this.
Yeah, I do too.
Out of the East myself.
I agree with you. All right, let's go ahead and look at 5A here. Oh gosh, the Spiders are going to have a well of a time next week.
Oh my goodness! You know, here they are. They got a winning record.
I think you're going to have to wake up Leroy to watch that one.
This is somebody. Concord's going to get. Okay, I tend to think they will get woken up in this game.
Yeah, that's you know the story about waking up Leroy, right? This guy was doing an interview for doing a trucking job, and the guys like ask him all these things like what happens if your rig you lose your transmission. Well, I start like tapping the brakes, maybe if I can get my brakes up, and he's going through all these crazy things. The next thing you know is he has his transmission is broken, he has no brakes, there's cars on the right, there's cars on the left, all kinds of these things. And he said, what are you going to do? And he says, well, I guess at this point I'd wake up Leroy. And the guy says, well, who's Leroy? He says, well, he's my swamper. He's the guy, check the air in my tires every time we stop. And he says, well, what's Leroy going to do? He says, well, nothing. Well, why are you going to wake him up? Because old Leroy's never seen a wreck as bad as this one. Oak Grove Northwest Cabarrus. Now that's going to be a good game. That's going to be a really good game. And West Rowan and Monroe. Do you think West Rowan has anything for Monroe?
On the surface, no, I don't. But Jim, I think Monroe's a dangerous 6-3 team in 5A. They're a dangerous team for teams will look at that record and not realize what Monroe actually is.
To J.M. Robinson, North Davison, they should be. I'd give J.M. Robinson the healthy margin there. East Lincoln, they should handle West Henderson. In the East tonight, Eastern Alamance beat Fike over in Wilson 35-0. Now Eastern Alamance travels to Wilson to play Hunt. Hunt is a really good team, and I don't see Eastern Alamance beating Hunt 35-0. My question is, can Eastern Alamance compete against Hunt? I think the answer is yes. I still think Hunt's going to be favored to win that one, but we'll see what happens. Havelock, they're going to have to go up to, I think it was the place called over in Currituck. I guess it might be called Currituck, I'm thinking, or Barco or something like that. They'll have to go up to the Northeastern Corridor to play Currituck County. I like Havelock in that game.
I can see that.
And I'll tell you what, that next to the bottom one, Southeast Alamance and Southern Nash, that would be a fun game to go to. Southern Nash loves to run. Southeast Alamance have a lot of talents, good coaching.
Yeah, another one of those games that you say I'm hosting the game and look what I got coming in.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the 6As.
Wow. So Reynolds is coming to Catholic. That, I don't know, Jim. I'm not sure what to say about Catholic right now.
Yeah.
I think that's a dangerous game for Catholic.
Bro, I agree with you on that. Donnie Kiefer's Central Cabarrus team goes up to Morganton to play Freedom. Never discounted Donnie Kiefer team. Dudley plays Ashboro.
Yeah, I was going to say that could be a good game right there.
That could be a really good one. Yeah. Olympic at Sun Valley. I wanted to talk to you about that one. I like Sun Valley. I like Sun Valley in this game.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Olympic people. But Sun Valley's a really, really good team. Really, really good. So you're going to have to – you can't have those mistakes that I saw tonight with penalties. You're going to have to play a cleaner game against Sun Valley. This is a good team. Sun Valley is a very good team, Jim.
Oh, I agree. I think both those teams are really good. I just like Sun Valley. There's one of my teams that I'm picking to pick the regional final.
It's a legitimate pick. The game right above it, that there would have been times I would say that Kings Mountain's not a team you want to have come in and playing you in the second round, but right now
I'm like, welcome aboard, come on in.
Yeah, right now Kings Mountain's just not showing it. I'm sorry, I'm not showing you the love this year, but
we'll give you some barbecue, some slaw, some hush puppies.
I'm gonna tell you what, the first game just really kind of clicked me. Statesville at Ashbrook. And I say clicked me as in I go back over to Gastonia. I think Ashbrook wins that game.
Oh, I do too. I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people expect. Statesville's a dangerous team.
I think that would be an interesting one to see. And I don't think Watauga's going to have – I don't know. I mean, they just beat them, but it wasn't like they beat the brakes off of them, right? So,
right.
That'll be an interesting game to see how that one goes down. But it will be cold.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Tell you what, the East has got some pretty good games. That Franklinton-Williams game should be a pretty good one. Lee County, Union Pines. I like Union Pines in that game over Lee County. And that Terry Sanford is Scotland County. I think that one's almost like a coin flip. I'm going to pick Scotland to win that one, but that's going to be a really good one.
I agree with you. I think that's going to be one of the better games that we see in 6A. I think.
Yeah.
Of this week, I like Scotland.
Wanted to talk a little bit about Brian Till just real quick. He coached at Terry Sanford. He's coached at Richmond County, and I remember last year or whatever meeting somebody from Richmond County, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're so glad we got this new coach and everything." And I'm like, "You don't know how special you had it when you had Brian Till. Brian Till is a very, very, very good coach, and you know what." Union Pines is a team that's they could make it to the state championship game. I believe that much about that team. They're really good.
Now, the one thing just I think deserves statement about coaching at Richmond or coaching anywhere. Sometimes great coaches and a school just don't work themselves out all the way.
Right.
Like they will with another great coach that goes to that same school, and it may work out a lot better. So there's a lot of dynamics to coaching and, the marriage between the two. I liked him at Richmond.
Oh, I did too. I thought Brian did. Actually, I thought he did better than his predecessor, the guy after Hoggard. So he's done a good job there. Maybe go ahead and look at the 7As. I know we're kind of running late tonight. The A.L. Brown Reagan game, we had some chatter about that one. A.L. Brown, they'd have to play a really good game to beat Reagan. Not saying it's impossible, but that game could be interesting. Butler, gosh, I
Yeah.
love Butler, but that's going to be a tough one for Brian.
So I think A.L. Brown's going to have a great game to win that.
Yeah.
I have to play very, very well. You must, let's say, almost no mistakes, that kind of thing. And the same thing with Butler. Butler is just going to have so many things go right for them, I think. Because Mooresville is a very, very good team. They've got to be one of the ones that you think about having a great shot of coming out of the West. That's a very good football team.
I'll tell you right now, Brian Hells is going to tell his teams, like, you got three things and three things only to remember. You got your religion, you got your family, and the Green Bay Packers. If you remember that Valvano story.
He loves the because I've made that comment, and that's exactly the quote that Brian came up with, was that quote. So yeah. Of course, Valvano was a basketball coach, and that's where he really believed a lot in Vince Lombardi and his methods and all. And so he had read a book, and now he's given his first speech at Rutgers. He had two things that went wrong on that, Jim. One was the
doors. You remember that? He's trying to open the door.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. That's the other thing. So the one thing was, of course, he said the Green Bay Packers, right?
Yeah.
So, he gave the complete Lombardi, and then he went to go out the door.
So we help the coach, and the whole time he's like trying to get his arm, filling back in his arm here.
Yeah.
Looking down that West, that Page Independence, over in the past years, I think that would be like, oh gosh, Page and Independence, 15 years ago, that would have been a marquee matchup. This is a second round here. Independence is a really good team. I think Independence handles this Page team, the Page Pirates, but those are two big names.
I think home teams win the Lake Norman game, the Weddington game, and the Independence game. Home teams win those games.
That Davie County Jack Brett game, that's going to be a fun game to go to. I think Jack Brett wins that one, but West Cabarrus, I thought someone said that they weren't going to make it to the second round. I don't know who that was, but they're playing Grimsley, and I think they will go home after the second round. Grimsley is a great team.
Most likely, this is an exit. Exit ramp, next exit.
Duke used to go, "Oh, see ya," every time you foul out.
Yeah. I don't know what you do to win. I don't know what West Cabarrus could do to win this game, to be honest with you. They just have to play perfect, and Grimsley to play horrible, and then they're still going to need some other things to go well. That's not so much against negative on West Cabarrus as it is Grimsley's one of the teams that's favored to come out of the West. So,
right.
When you think about this bracket or this side of the bracket, you think about Grimsley, Independence, Mooresville, and Weddington finding their ways to play each other, and Lake Norman sitting right there on the edge as well.
Right.
So, no shame or no disrespect, West Cabarrus. You just facing a juggernaut,
beast.
A beast.
Down in the East, actually at Hillside, that might be one of the games I'll definitely think about going to that one. Because to be honest with you, I think Ashley can beat Hillside.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think
Ashley's a dangerous 4-17 team.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd have to really think how much I think they could beat them, but I think they certainly can if things go right, without question. It's not like with the West Cabarrus Grimsley what they've got to face.
Dale, the one game I was going to say, there are two games at the very bottom. That Southern Durham at Conley, that game is going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good game. There's not going to be a blowout on that one. And the last one, that Wake Forest and Gardner game,
Yeah,
those are two big names. Those are two. Gardner's I think this year people would, if you compared the two teams, they would say Gardner had a better season. Wake Forest has really come alive in the last 3-4 weeks, and Coach Reggie Lucas, he lost his wife to a senseless murder earlier on this season. My thoughts and good vibes, prayers go for that Wake Forest to Reggie Lucas. That Gardner Wake Forest game, that's going to be a really good one there. Those are two rivals, so just remember that one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, let's go ahead and look at 8A. I know it's getting 12:45. We've been on this for about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 10 or so. But Dale, there's 4 teams in the West, games in the West. If I had to pick one I'd go to, it would be West Forsyth and Mallard Creek. But I'm not you. Where would you go if you had to choose between those 4 teams?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm looking for competitiveness.
Yeah,
probably the West Forsyth Mallard Creek might be the more competitive game. As it looks, I don't know that the other 3 games would be highly competitive, especially not for 4 quarters.
Right.
I mean, Providence and Palisades might have a good half against the 2 teams. I really like West Charlotte, and I just don't that game could get ugly.
Right.
As could the Huff Palisades game could get ugly.
I agree with you.
And Myers, I really think, and I may be wrong, but I really think that Myers Park should handle Chambers. They should. I mean, those 3 games, Jim, you're looking at have potential. All 3 of those have potential to be 3-score games or more.
Right.
I don't know that I wouldn't say the West Forsyth Mallard Creek game on the surface. I wouldn't say that's a 3-score game. So yeah, that would be a game to go to for football.
In the East, the Leesville Road Jordan game could be a good one. I think Jordan will win, but I do expect a fairly competitive game, at least through the first half. Millbrook should handle Panther Creek. Actually, Roseville, they're a really good team, and I know Friendship's 9-1, but I'm going to pick Roseville in that game. And Hoggard, I'll pick them over Willow Spring. Though, that East, you got 3 teams that are 10-0, and then you got another team that's 9-1. And just want to throw that one out. I think of all those teams, though, the team that's played the hardest schedule is Roseville, and they're 8-3. And I think Roseville could end up winning the East, although they're not the team I'm picking. I'm picking Millbrook to walk it out in the East.
Too. Could Roseville be there? Yeah, I think without question, Roseville has a shot at being there. Hoggard might too as well. Okay. How did we do? We did good. Everybody did good. Everybody did good. Everybody failed. Everybody failed with the Chambers Pinecrest. Everybody, this game, the Chapel Hill Marvin Ridge game. Why did Nate pick Chapel Hill?
I don't know. If he saw Chapel Hill like me, he wouldn't have picked Chapel Hill.
I mean, I didn't say anything, but I was like, this isn't going to be one of those highly competitive games like the next one was. I was questioning myself. Am I really not thinking properly about Chapel Hill? So really, so I think what has happened here, just for the fans, anybody's following, we are now. Wait a minute. Why has he got Chris at 45 and 21? I thought Chris was just one behind us.
Chris and I both picked Ford. I thought Ford win. I got the bottom three right. I got Providence beating Ardrey Hill. Also, I didn't get the Palisade South Mac. I actually picked South Mac to win that game.
Right now, I guess Chris is. If this 45 and 21 is right,
You got only two, I guess, ahead of them now.
Two. Well, Langston and I are tied right now. Nate fell back one, and Chris stepped up to be down two. I thought Chris was only one down. Something happened last week. Chris must have missed another game that I don't recognize. But anyway,
Okay.
I think most of us did okay overall with our picks, but some of the games were, well, at least one of the games was, only one of the games was, I thought, I felt like, I don't know about the North Wilkes game either, because in the end, I did think that this game would be kind of a bigger score game, Jim, because I had earlier thought about, well, I wouldn't mind going up and seeing seeing West Lincoln, and maybe a Carrie will be there and I can say hey to her.
Oh yeah.
And then I thought about the game and I'm like, oh, that's no. But then I went to a game that was shake your head no. But I'd rather be 10 minutes away and shake my head no than an hour away and shake my head no. I did think the Lake Norman game was going to be close, and what happened to me. So I still, after thinking about it, well, just plain and simple, I figured it'd be close, and it was close. It was.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dale. I want to give you a chance to do some deep thoughts by Jack Handy, or actually your Dale's final thoughts. Sorry, I like Saturday Night Live too much.
Yeah. Well, as we close down tonight, I thought about on my way back from my game tonight, poor attendance, and I have a hard time understanding how you can have a team that's got a winning record, winning season. I mean, overall had a very good season, had a conference championship, first conference championship in a long time. I think I'm going to have to look and see, but he may be the winningest coach in Olympic history. I haven't done the numbers up yet, but I mean, there's a lot of positive things that's actually around that Olympic team, and not seeing. And this is, I would like to expand this out to not just Olympic, but to other programs. And that is that you got to support the kids. The community should support student body, the families. It should show support. And I don't understand. What I couldn't understand was I'm at a playoff game, and it's not a hard drive for anybody to get to in Steel Creek to get to that game and play, but they didn't show up. And the fact that people drove down from up in Guilford County to come down and watch a game and had about the same number of people. That's sad. And then to hear that there was 1,000 people at another game, which that you added the two crowds together tonight, they may have come up to about 1,000, maybe 900 to 1,000, something like that. I don't know, Jim. Bad at estimating when there's so much space between people.
Right.
But to see that another playoff game here in Charlotte also had poor attendance. That's just my final thought, is that you should go out and support your schools. So if you're still playing, you still have a school playing, get out there and support them. Go watch a game.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot of chances to catch up again, and I always like calling it Talking Preps Plus, but I keep on being reminded it's Talking Preps OT, guys. I am so sorry for doing that. It's just an old habit of mine, I guess, that I've started week 3 or week 4, whenever we started doing the Talking Preps OT. A lot of chances to catch up with us. Please come back and listen to us, guys. We want to help enhance your experience with high school athletics. From Jim West and Dale Ross and the whole group from Talking Preps, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Take care.
We should have Coach Thompson.